Welcome back to the Intentional Intern Podcast. You know the drill, new week, new episode, except this week it's also new industry, hospitality. Growing up with Southern hospitality has taught me the art of making people feel welcome, but turning that into a career, especially in tourism, is something else that I had not thought about. That's why I'm super excited to introduce this week's guest, Iniya Renee. Iniya is a third-year marketing student at the University of New Orleans, and honestly, she does it all. She's the vice president of the Student Government Association, treasurer for the Hotel, Restaurant, and Tourism Association, a student researcher, a resident assistant, and she also works in the campus booking department. Talk about well-rounded. In this episode, Iniya and I dive into a little bit of everything. Her path to choosing marketing, her research into New Orleans tourism, her growth as a student leader, and of course, so much more. Who would I be without saying so much more? I can't wait to see where her journey takes her, as her heart, curiosity, and dedication bring such a unique warmth and freshness to the future of hospitality. For those who want to connect with Iniya, you can find her LinkedIn linked below. With that, let's dive into the episode. Hi, Iniya. How are you?
I'm doing well, Miss Amaya. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm tired, but I'm good.
Girl, same. Same.
Well, I love to hear it. Even if you are a little bit tired, I'm very happy that you are here on the podcast today to talk about your story and your experiences.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me today.
Always. And I would love if you could kick us off and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. So, hi, you guys. My name is Iniya Renee. I'm currently from Louisiana. I actually go to the University of New Orleans. I'm a third-year marketing student, and I do dabble in a little bit of this and that. I'm currently the vice president for the Student Government Association, also secretary and treasurer for the Hotel, Restaurant, and Tourism Association. I'm a resident assistant, a student researcher. I work in the campus booking department, so I do a little bit of this and that on campus.
Girl, that's more than this and that. That's a lot of things.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's a little bit.
Yeah, you're there. You're everywhere. And I love that.
I try my best to just make sure I'm involved and just get a feel for my campus. I'm here for 2 more years, so I got to make sure I experience everything. So, yeah.
That's amazing. And let's go into how you got to your major. So what made you choose marketing as your major?
Yo, so to be honest, goodness gracious, I went through a journey of trying to figure out what in the world I wanted to major in before I graduated high school. Matter of fact, my senior year was during COVID, so I was like, you know what? I'm into Criminal Minds. Let me just watch Criminal Minds. And I don't know if y'all know Garcia from Criminal Minds. She was the computer genius. I was like, I like her. So let me major in computer science. So I had a heavy interest in cybersecurity and whatnot. And I was like, I don't know if I want to sit at a desk all day the rest of my life. You know what? Let me transfer to something like hotel, restaurant, and tourism. And I was like, I don't know. I was a bit indecisive. And then my mom, she was like, you've had a creative soul since you were a kid. Why don't you do something with marketing? And me not knowing what in the world marketing was, I was like, okay, mama, I trust you. That's my ace. So I was like, you know what? I trust her judgment. So let me try this. So I majored in marketing, and, I came into this major literally not knowing anything. But lately I've just been trying to pursue more knowledge about the field because it's so broad. So I was actually able to secure an internship / fellowship with Coco Coalition. They're based out of California. It's an organization designed for Black women empowerment, holistics, all that good stuff. And then I started working on an externship with the website Extern. So I'm just picking up a little bit of knowledge here and there just so I can know what it is that marketing is. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, first off, let me say, I'm glad that someone else has a story of their parent basically picking their major. That's exactly how my undergraduate experience went. Mom picked my major, dad picked my minor. So I think that's so cool that, parents really they just know sometimes, and how well it worked out for you. I love to hear that.
Girl, yes, yes. And like I think back to that moment all the time because like my mom, like she knows me. She knows me and my brother. And so like she knows like what it is that we're good at. And in a moment of uncertainty, like after I graduated from high school, I took a gap year and I worked and I was just like so discouraged because like all my friends that I was in high school with were going off to college. And then here I was at home just trying to figure out my life. And my mom was just like, girl, do marketing. You got that. You got that. And so here I am. So my journey isn't done. I'm still going onward, but it's been rewarding so far. I'm blessed for everything that I've attained. So yeah, shout out to my mama.
Yes, shout out to parents everywhere. And even like our parents have had so much involvement in our lives to where we are now, just like how your mom has had so much involvement into where you are now, especially from a marketing standpoint. Let's talk about your personal involvement that you've had within college. So let's delve a little bit deeper into all the things that you do around campus, definitely starting with your research on the side of being a student researcher. What's that journey been like for you?
Oh my goodness, it's been really interesting. As a little kid, I would do a lot of research. Like I would go on my phone and just like read a bunch of random articles and stuff just cuz I wanted to pick up knowledge about stuff. But I actually started on this research journey with my mentor in the hotel, restaurant and tourism sector, matter of fact. In Louisiana, we celebrate Mardi Gras. I'm sure everybody knows what Mardi Gras is, Fat Tuesday. And so she brought up this brilliant idea. She was like, why don't we do research about how to make Mardi Gras sustainable? And girl, this research has been like so informative. Like, I didn't realize Mardi Gras beads had carcinogens and all kinds of chemicals in them. Yes, yes, it's crazy. And, whenever people are just like parading and partying, they're just like throwing the beads. They're not thinking, hey, like this is gonna stay on the ground. This is gonna go into the sewer systems. This could possibly like clog drains and stuff, cause environmental harm. Yes, it's a lot. And then also I did do research into the workers that do like make the beads. And it's a lot of like Chinese women and children in these factories, and they work like 12, 13 hours a day, and they make pennies for the beads that they make. And people, like it comes to America and people like take the beads for granted, but that's like somebody's work for like a week that they don't get paid for. So I've learned a lot, and I'm still researching. Matter of fact, I have to work on my presentation and whatnot. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to be able to present this fall at a conference that we have at school, just to get more people aware of like the environmental effects of Mardi Gras. And we can still party, we can still have fun, but we want to make sure we're taking care of the earth that we were blessed with. So yeah.
Wow, you just educated me. I've never been to Mardi Gras, and I do know limited knowledge beyond the Princess and the Frog. But that's crazy. Like just thinking about, I didn't even think about from Mardi Gras from a sustainability standpoint. So, fun fact actually, as we are talking about this during this episode, this season of life that we're in right now, as we look back on these, I'm actually taking an international events class right now. So, learning about hospitality and tourism from a different angle of how it affects us internationally and then nationally here, like statewide in Georgia. And a big part of one of the lessons that we learned was talking about nature in tourism. And so, even with events that are like, just marathons or 10Ks or anything, or Ironmans, like things like that, how does that actually affect sustainability in society and all the work that they have to do in order to have it cleared by like national like representatives that come say, hey, this is safe for you guys to use. Hey, this is, this event seems like it will be able to happen or occur without necessarily sustaining the environment beyond repair. But Mardi Gras, that like even from the carcinogens and all that stuff, and even trying to have that stuff kind of degrade down, that seems like a lot. And I know there's a lot that goes into Mardi Gras and all the planning and all the tourism that they get from that and the millions that go into that. But how much tourism is good tourism?
How much tourism is good tourism? It's actually something that really needs to be studied in terms of Mardi Gras, because I mean, it's a beautiful like celebration for everybody, especially people that are like out of this state. Like, you want people to have fun, you want people to indulge in like the Louisiana culture, especially as a Louisiana native myself. But it's just a matter of just like having people be mindful of like the environmental effects, because baby, we only get one planet, and our planet is struggling right now. So let's make sure we're taking care of her.
Exactly. There's so much going on in the world, and especially from a sustainability standpoint. I mean, it was already the ozone layer, and to some degree it still is, but to all of these things going on in our oceans and everything, it's just like, we got to do a better job with Mother Nature. Otherwise, she will kick us off this planet.
Yes, she will. Already it's hot. Every time I step outside, I'm like, oh no, I gotta go back indoors. I can't do this. Cannot do this.
Girl, it's burning outside.
Yes, it definitely is.
Just burning so hot. But I appreciate you even just educating me on the topic of what that looks like in the Louisiana kind of atmosphere, especially with Mardi Gras being something that's so important to one state, but also how effective it could be, not just from the dollars, but looking at the dirt too. So, everything else that we have going on and everything else that you have going on in your space that isn't just the only thing you do of being a student researcher. You are also a leader in other spaces, like you were talking about with Student Government Association. Tell us a little bit more about your role in that and what that's all about.
Oh my goodness. So, okay. So I remember like my first week of my freshman year, we have like this thing called Privateer Plunge. So it's pretty much just like a welcome event for people that are new to my school, the University of New Orleans. So I was just wandering around, and I came across room 208 in the University Center. They had a Student Government Association meeting. I was like, I don't even like government, but like, let me just see what this is about. And so I sat through one meeting, and I was like, they passed legislation for the betterment of the students in campus life. Let me join this. So I became a senator literally my first semester of college. And then I ended up like getting influenced by like some of my fellow senators, and then the executive team at the time. I became close with them, and they were like, why don't you run for like an executive position, like vice president? I was like, me? No. No way. I don't think I could do that. I was still very much so in a mindset of, leadership is scary to me. Like, I don't think like I'm ready to pursue that. And then I thought about it, and I was like, closed mouths don't get fed. Like, how do you expect to grow if you don't pursue the things that scare you? So I was like, you know what? Let me just campaign. Let me do it. So I campaigned. I ended up winning literally like my second semester of college, and like that's something that I honed like deep to my heart, cuz I was like, oh my goodness, like this girl from the country came to, well, not really a big city, but I mean it's like a small big city, but I was just really proud of myself because I tackled the one thing that I was really scared of, leadership. And so it's been amazing. It's really taught me a lot about myself. I've just been able to network with a multitude of people. It's great just seeing like the work that senators do, and to be able to, be the liaison between students and then the administration on campus, just knowing the behind the scenes about like what's going on with school, like what kind of events they're going to put on, the best way that we can support our school and make our school better. It's just been amazing.
I love that you tackled that. And I love that you were curious as well to just be like, what is this? I don't know nothing about this. I don't really like to get into this, but let me talk and see what this is about. And really going through that process with yourself of, why not? Let's explore it and see where it goes. And look at you now. I mean, I wonder what you back then, if you saw where you were now, I wonder even what that dialogue would look like. But I think you covered a lot of it, of just saying, you tackled your greatest fear, which is leadership. But look at you being able to lead in such a huge way too, because VP is not small.
It's definitely not. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. I really do think like my past self would just be like in awe right now because she was just so scared of everything. And like I'm not the bravest like when it comes to everything, but just being able to break out of my shell and just pursue like those things to help me grow. It's rewarding. It's a blessing. Thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you for the resilience.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you had your own story to tell with that, and being a part of being that, like you said, liaison between the student body and then like the staff body, and then getting to be like an advocate and supporting and celebrating the students and the work that you do. I think that's definitely something that can be so rewarding and refreshing and so healing, not even just from like a staff perspective of the role that you're in, but even from a student perspective too, of like, if I was a student, which you are, but like if I was just a student who had no insight into this, but still being able to feel valued and supported because of the work going on and the students who are going to bat, I know they probably really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And like being a leader in this magnitude has really helped me to gain another perspective because like my school is small. I want to say our enrollment is maybe like between 5 and like 6,000 students. I'm not 100% sure, but I just see the potential that my school has to be great and to, like recruit more students. And obviously I want to make sure that the quality of life on campus now just improves so that each student can really go after the organization that they're interested in and really just be proud to call themselves like a privateer and whatnot. And so, like, I'm still learning the ropes. I've been VP for a year. I'm about to go into my second year of being VP. And so, like, I want to keep learning. I want to make sure I have fresh ideas to bring to my fellow executive team. So I'm just really excited to see what our team does this upcoming semester.
Look, I don't go there, but me too. I'm excited.
I'll definitely keep you updated, girl.
Thank you. And I know there's another way that you lean into just being able to support the student body as well. And that's from something that we've talked about before, our commonality of being resident assistants.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I absolutely love it. Just being able to help students because, like, I remember whenever I was first registering, like, for housing at my apartment complex on campus, I was like, oof, Jesus, I'm really doing this by myself. Like, my mom, she always wanted me to practice independence, which I can appreciate. But I was like, man, I'm paying this money by myself. I'm really securing an apartment by myself. I'm going to be living like without my family and whatnot. And so, like, I experienced that. And then becoming an RA, I got the training that I needed to ensure that I'm able to help students whenever they're filling out their applications, whenever they do live here and they have issues, they have questions. I love being able to help them because I know that I was in that position before. So I have the experience to just give them the knowledge, the joy, the love, the compassion that they need. So I really relish in this position.
Yeah, I remember my times as a RA, and just that was my main core mission of I remember what it was like not being supported, especially as a student, and looking for an RA to be there and be able to advocate for me. And unfortunately, I didn't have that. So I decided, let me just be that for other people so that way they never feel the same way, and still being able to just provide a quality experience, because your living space, like that's where you recharge, that's your energy, that's where you go and you release everything. And if that isn't a stable environment and you're not able to have the people that are supposed to be there to celebrate and support you in that way, then that affects like what you do in class, what you end up doing at work, what you end up doing within your personal life. And so being able to be a part of that, I definitely understand how it's so rewarding, and cherishing those moments of just being able to do that and recognize how much of an impact you really can have when putting in the work as an RA.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And like the goal is to just make sure that everybody's comfortable and they're educated, of course. And like you said, like your home is like the basis of where everything is. Like if you're not at peace at home, then that really does affect like the other aspects of your life. And so for as long as these students are here pursuing their education, around the schools, around New Orleans, I just want to make sure that they're comfortable and they're heard.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Comfortable in their herd. Those are the two really key things. And from your experience as being an RA, do you have like a favorite RA moment that comes to mind?
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you asked. So, of course, as RAs, we have the responsibility of putting on events, just to make sure that we're fostering like a community within like the student complex and whatnot. And so I remember my best friend, Genesis, shout out to my girl Genesis. In the spring, we ended up doing this Black History Month event, and we did something along the lines of all About My Crown 101. So we had two hairstylists and a barber come speak at our office and do like a little panel to talk about the best way for us to keep our hair healthy, like for the guys, for the girls, like what tips they had to ensure that we're maintaining our hair in the cold, the heat, if we want to like color our hair and whatnot, what are the best ways to keep our hair healthy. It was such like a surreal experience for me because I was like, oh my goodness, like the prepping that it took, like I've always been like introverted and just like antisocial, but like being in these positions have really pushed me out of that. And so I remember Genesis, she was more so in charge of like ordering like the products that we had for the little samples we gave away to like the guys and the girls. We had do-rags, we had like edge control and whatnot that we gave away. And so she was in charge of that, and then I was in charge of like reaching out to barbers and hairstylists. So I was just on Instagram, just reaching out to a few local like hairstylists and whatnot. And I was like, hey, I'm a student here, I'm an RA, and I really want to have this event. Would you be willing to come and speak? And so just knowing that all that preparation was able to, just really help the event come to fruition. And we had like a few people just like compliment our work. They were like, thank you so much for having this panel. I learned a lot. I remember like weeks later, one of the girls that was in my building, she was like, hey, you had that event with the natural hair? I said, yes, ma'am, I did. She was like, do you know what that edge control was? I was like, let me go look in my room and I'm gonna let you know. And so it's just moments like those, just knowing that the events that we put on really impact the residents. I was just like, wow, that was like my big RA moment that I'm so extremely thankful for.
Oh man, I just know the love and the energy in that room was so enriching to everybody involved. And hearing you even speak about an event like that, man, I wish my school would.
Yeah, like it was really important. It was really, really important that we have Black History Month events. And of course, my apartment complex is on the University of New Orleans campus, but we do have other students around New Orleans, like Xavier. We have Tulane, the Delgado Community College, Southern University of New Orleans, all the other schools. And Genesis, she went to Xavier University. She actually graduated from there. So she had plenty of experience whenever it came to the Black culture and whatnot. So I was like, girl, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this. It was her idea. I ran with it. And, we did both of our roles that we needed to do. And so it was just beautiful. And I'm very thankful for it.
I'm very thankful that I even get to hear about it. I mean, that was something that even showcased your skill there of just being adaptable to what's given to you and what ideas are being thrown out and being able to be flexible and also get out of your own comfort zone to develop other skills of leadership and even community outreach that ties right back into marketing for you. So I can understand that that was just a holistic like experience for you in the best way where you were learning from different things that you were doing left and right while being able to not only have opportunities for yourself, but provide that opportunity of being heard out from the students as well and them wanting to come back to you and really ask questions and learn about it.
Right. And like you said, like a lot of the things that I've been indulging in, it's just been a full circle moment because, I've been like so upset because like I would apply for internships and then I look at the skills required. I'm like, I haven't reached that point yet. But then when I think about like all the things that I've done pertaining to like my vice presidency and being an RA, being a student researcher, all those skills literally tie into marketing. And so I was like, every door that was open for me had a purpose in shaping me for my journey as a marketing student. So that's definitely something I've been really thankful for.
Yes, and you've been doing so good at it, even down to your internships and doing like your externship with extern. I mean, those are huge things to be proud of. And one thing I want to highlight to all of our audience who's listening too is when you see these internships and they say these skills and things like that, know that you don't have to have all of them. If you have enough to where you can finesse it and flex it and be able to show how you can take the experience and the skills, existing skills that you have already, and be able to apply them to how you will continue to learn about other knowledge and skills that are needed for the role. That can also be a way to just showcase your adaptability and honestly your enthusiasm and motivation and dedication towards the internship itself. So as you can see from her experience, I mean, she's learned a lot within a lot of different roles, whether personal or professional, and what she's doing that may even cross over into her student life, how she's been able to elevate to new levels and new heights and skills for the things that she wants to achieve in her career, too.
Absolutely. It's been a great experience. So I honestly recommend to anybody that's just like trying to find an area of just gaining experience, just literally just look on campus. Look on campus because you never know what organization you can become a leader in and just hone new skills. And then, of course, LinkedIn. Make sure you're going on TikTok because the way that I found out about Extern was through TikTok. And then, of course, another coworker of mine, she actually put me on because she's into marketing and whatnot. So it's definitely beneficial to make sure that you're doing your research. And then, of course, surround yourself with people that have the resources because, of course, they can put you on. And it's been very useful to me. So I'm just very thankful for the research that I've done and the people that have been placed into my life to give me the guidance that I need. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point talking about networking and getting to see how that is so important and that is so resourceful as well as a student. Can you talk a little bit more about what has been your journey to having the community that you have now and how that has been formed through networking?
Honestly, it really happened by accident. Like I said, I've always been like antisocial and whatnot. But whenever I did start my resident assistant job, I just kind of, meshed well with my coworkers. We became like a family and whatnot. And then I do remember one of my coworkers. Her name is Janea. I absolutely miss her and love her. She's into marketing. She actually graduated from Xavier University as well. And I was just like asking her because I was like, girl, like you do marketing. What advice do you have for me and whatnot? And so, like, she was just telling me about her experience, some of the certifications that she did, ambassadorships and whatnot. And then, of course, she was telling me about like extern and doing externships and whatnot. So she was able to put me on with that. And then, of course, my people from SGA and whatnot, I just like kind of make sure that I foster relationships with them as well too. Matter of fact, my best friend, he's currently going to be the vice president of legislative affairs for our student government. And, he's always like finding stuff on LinkedIn. Always, always, always. Like, matter of fact, like I'll get notifications on my phone of him like mentioning my name in a comment and whatnot for something like he thought would be interesting. And so I texted him one day. I was like, why do you keep commenting my name on LinkedIn? He was like, girl, you never know who could be on like a post or something like that. They can see your name, they can see your credentials, they could probably work with you and whatnot. And so, like, I looked up at the sky one day. I was like, God, just thank you. Thank you for handpicking this boy to be my best friend because, like, he truly helped me to, like, break out of my shell. He really helped me to break out of my shell. He was one of the people that actually influenced me to run for vice president and whatnot. And so, like, he's always just like motivating me. Always, always, always. And that's why I say it's just like really important to be surrounded by people that are just driven, passionate, and want the best for you. So, shout out to my best friend Xavier.
I love that. I love that you have people in your life that enable you to succeed and also enable you to lead too and pushing you to where you are now of hey, we think you'd be great for XYZ. And that makes me think of another leadership role that we completely didn't get to talk about, but I definitely want to talk about you being the secretary for like hospitality and tourism and talking a little bit more about that because I don't want to leave out a single one of your credentials.
So we actually started having our meetings last month. I'm very fresh to the organization, not even gonna cap to you. But I'm really excited to see what the organization entails because they do partake in conferences around the city and whatnot, just volunteering and whatnot for restaurant shows, like winery shows and whatnot, golf tournaments and such. And then they do take a few trips around the country just to like network with people and to show the students like what it's like to just really be in the hotel, restaurant, and tourism industry. And so pretty much like I've just been keeping track of like the information that we discuss in the meetings and relaying that information to the members and whatnot. It's kind of just like really light work right now. And then I do plan on partaking in a few tabling events just to help with recruitment so we can get people on the Hotel, Restaurant, and Tourism Association bandwagon so they can get a feel for this industry. So I'm just really excited. I'm really, really excited to see what that brings.
You said light work, but that seems like a lot of legitimate work to me that's still being done to build the faith, like in foundation of everything. That's still really cool to be able to, from an HR perspective, I love being able to hear the word recruitment and how people do it within different industries. So hearing from like a hospitality side that that's a part of some things that you get to do on top of being able to just be the communicator and again be like another liaison between the actual body and then the members themselves and being able to kind of take some of that RA work that you do and some of that work that you do is in SGA and being able to combine those and utilize those in a different skill set. It just shows how adaptable everything is within all the stuff that you do and even reaching to broader places of networking of going to across the country and doing all these different things within this new environment. I mean, I'm super excited to see what you'll accomplish and all the other skills that you'll be able to enhance and new skills that you'll be able to take on.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm excited too. And not to seem cheesy or anything, but every time like I acquire a new skill, I gotta write it down, put it on my resume, put it on my LinkedIn to keep track. So I'm like, okay, so this skill is down, let's move on to the next one.
No, that's good. I think that's good advice and that's good things to have, especially in your toolbox of when you're thinking about, how can I apply this skill? How can I make people aware that I have this skill? How can I incorporate this even within projects? Because sometimes you just forget how much stuff that you have or how much stuff that you do. And sometimes you have to look and remind yourself. I've had that a couple times where I'm like, what have I done? And then I go back and I go and look and I'm like, oh, I've actually done a lot. Let me take some of this stuff and put it into what I'm doing right now. And I'm thinking about how can I, how can I get through whatever I'm doing right now? And then I recognize 9 times out of 10, I have like at least the bare minimum skills equipped to be able to get to that next step that I need to. And it's all about just remembering your power and living in your truth of that of I have a lot to learn, but I also have these things that I've already learned from and so that accompanied with what I'm going to learn is going to make me an even stronger student and an even stronger professional.
Absolutely, absolutely. And everything that you embark on, I literally just tell myself, enjoy the journey. There's no need to rush. You know, you're exactly where you need to be. The skills that you need, they will come. You will be equipped with what it is that you need. Just be patient and enjoy the journey.
Exactly, 100%. Just vibe. That might be the most Gen Z way of saying it, but literally just vibe and really put yourself in that moment and enjoy the experience for what it is, not what it could be, not what it was. Like don't put harsh expectations on yourself of thinking like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be able to, you know, XYZ. Of course, it's great to have goals and be able to say, I would love to be able to do this within this time frame. But make sure that, you're kind to yourself and you don't beat yourself up in any way of, oh, dang, I didn't accomplish this or XYZ. Just, live in those moments and live in those experiences. And the more hard work and everything that you keep putting in, those goals that you're wanting to achieve, they definitely won't miss you if you're working towards those.
Absolutely. There's just so much peace in just being in the present and knowing that everything that you do is going to work for your good in the future. You just got to be patient. Got to be.
Exactly. And so I want to know, actually, you bring up a really good point there of just being able to sit with yourself and, know in your heart, hey, this is what I want to do, and living in my peace and doing what I want to be able to experience, even, and what that's like. What do you tell yourself when you're in these moments of embarking on new challenges, new things, when you were going into new leadership? What are some things that you told yourself of when you're preparing to do the next thing or do something new that might be a little bit out of the box for you? What do you say to be like, okay, we got this, let's take it on?
Literally, I'll just be like, girl, you got this. Everybody had to start from scratch. Nobody just naturally went into, well, I'm sure maybe some people naturally went into their industry knowing what they were doing. But, the majority of people, they had to start off somewhere. And so I just had to remind myself, everybody comes from humble beginnings, regardless if you think you look silly doing something, you have to start somewhere, because when you start somewhere, that's going to project you to new heights, and then you're going to be able to reach your goals and then look back, be like, oh my gosh, like just that one step that I took out on faith just really helped me to get to where I need to be. So yeah, and I've always just like adopted the mindset of what's for me will be for me. So whenever like I get rejection, like emails from like, job opportunities or internships, I'm like, you know what, it's just redirection. A no is just redirection. It's not a no, you're not good enough. It's this isn't intended in your chapter right now. There's another chapter full of blessings, full of opportunities. You just got to get to this point. So,
Exactly. And I feel like that's a great note for us to leave off on, and just recapping everything that we've talked about. Of you've given us so much to think about, even in terms of just how you are able to tackle on all of these different roles that you play within your day-to-day life and your roles and responsibilities, but also how you keep yourself recharged and revved up when it's living in your purpose of being able to help people and serve people and care about sustainability, and just be able to embody all these different passions that help you even in your major of marketing, and just being able to be such a well-rounded and holistic individual where you're able to not only serve others, but you're serving yourself in so many good ways with everything that you're doing and the skills that you're developing, and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and getting to that next level.
yes, ma'am. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
No, really, thank you. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your experiences and talking about your story in so many different ways. So I really can't wait to see what is held for you in the next chapter, because I just know that the opportunities that are coming towards you are limitless, but they're also going to be so, again, like on the next level.
Thank you. That's such a beautiful word to give to me. Thank you so much. I'm excited too. And so I just plan on continuing to work diligently and to just make sure that I'm always walking in my purpose and knowing that what's for me will be for me.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the Intentional Intern Podcast. We hope you're leaving with fresh insights and a boost of motivation to take on your career journey. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow, leave a review, and share it with your network. Connect with us on LinkedIn and Instagram and let us know your thoughts. Your feedback fuels our next great episode. Until next time, stay intentional, keep growing, and keep shining bright. See you in the next episode.